Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to spend some time talking about returning to art, both returning to a specific painting that you haven't felt like was finished, but also returning to art after a hiatus or a break or a mental block of some kind. So I wanted to start first with just why I came back to this specific piece of art, and then later talk a little bit about my own struggles and journey with coming back to art after taking a very long break. So first, with this specific painting, as you saw at the beginning, the sky is very dark, and I felt that it really clashed with how bright the landscape was. So I decided quite some time ago, before I even came back to painting, that I wanted to brighten up the sky. And I am so happy that I did. Just the simple change in the color of the sky was enough to really start to sell the landscape so much more. And I spend most of my work on this painting in the sky, doing, subtle changes and trying to make it breathe a little bit more. But the landscape that I created in the last video, I was really happy with, and I did almost nothing to change it. The other thing that I needed to do when I was returning to this painting was adding a little bit more color into the sky. I felt like just blue and white wasn't quite enough for me. And as I've done in some of my other paintings, I really like adding purple into clouds. If you notice, clouds tend to have gray in them, whether the light is not directly hitting it. This gray tends to have a slight blue or slight purple hue, depending on the time of day and what you're looking at. And instead of doing the normal gray underneath the cloud, I like to really add the color underneath the gray. And I find the purple to look really nice, especially in a daytime sky. Other than that, just compositionally on this, I felt like the left-hand side was very heavy. So at some point here, I decided to add a mountain on the right-hand side to just balance out the piece a little bit. So coming back to a specific piece of art can really help you to tailor it and hone it into, the finished version of whatever you started. If you find that you're not happy with a piece of art, you can always come back to it later and make changes and turn it into something you're really happy with. Now, in regards to returning to art as a whole, I had some work-related issues that caused me to be away from home a lot and to not really have the kind of time to dedicate to painting that I wanted. So I stopped doing art for a long time, months, after I finished that, last painting session just before this video. And I felt like I was just holding my breath, that I wasn't really as happy as I once was. And I didn't have any way to deal with the stress that I was feeling. And then, last weekend, I decided to come back to painting. And I'm so happy that I did that, because I immediately felt relaxed. I knew exactly what I needed to do with this painting, and I felt like finally I could just take a breath and, do what I enjoyed and do what I love. And I don't think I'm ever going to take that long of a break ever again. So if you're currently in the middle of a break, if you have life stress and, painting is something that relaxes you, even if you feel like you don't have time, I promise your art or your creativity will thank you, and it will reward you for coming back to it. I have gone from being very stressed to being so much happier and so much more relaxed now that I've returned to painting. And I'm gearing up for another painting this weekend. I'm rearing and ready to go. So if you've been away for any length of time, please come back to it. It's not something that, I wanted to give up on. It's something I felt like I had to. And if you're in a similar space, put yourself out there, make the time. This painting process for me took maybe an hour of my time, and it felt like the most valuable hour of time that I've spent in a good while. And I realized, that I need my art. I tend to paint what I need. And in this painting, I ended up titling it Breathe In, because looking out at the landscape I created, I realized that it's that moment where you take a deep breath before continuing on, in a hike or a journey or, this, path to this mountain. And that breath in for me, both creatively and, personally, was really helpful. So please, I would highly recommend returning to art if you've been away, because I know it's been a very positive process for me, and I hope it will be for you too. With that, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.